The year is 2236. Humanity has expanded outward throughout the galaxy, colonized countless worlds, met numerous alien life forms, murdered some of them, accidentally or otherwise, and established itself as an integral part of the galactic community. Indeed, we've come a long way from Earth, both literally and figuratively. First contact with extraterrestrial life made us realize how silly we'd been for waging endless wars with each other. I suppose meeting a 7-foot-tall, 8-limbed bug creature from 12 light years away really puts things in perspective. Makes you think, maybe that fella down the road ain't all that different after all. Yes, we've built a kind and sustainable future for ourselves. A real utopia, one in which we can live, prosper, and be happy. But there's one thing in this bright future that remains the same. Dating still sucks. My name is Willet Robers. Most folks call me Tumbill, though. I work as a bounty hunter, that is to say, a criminal acquisition specialist for the Joint Entities for Regulative Command, or J.E.R.C. It's my job to hunt down certain malefactors and bring them in to face justice, making a tidy chunk of cash for myself in the process. It's a good job, one that helps keep the peace, but it's dangerous and it don't give me a lot of time for socializing, so I hadn't exactly had a lot of success in the finding love department. Not for lack of trying, though. I'd done speed dating. Oh, geez, where did you come from?
My name is Lisa. I enjoy long walks along the surface. The life assist, the letter E's, and...
Wait, what? I didn't quite catch.
What's plans for the future? Mine is for recreation, as I am here to propagate my species, so we may expand and conquer the galaxy and do away with the pivotal reservations.
You seem real nice and all, but...
I'm sorry, I don't think this is working out. It's not you, it's me. Bye.
Oh, my leg! What in the hell just happened? I gave video dating a try.
Okay, Mr. Roberts, just take a seat and get comfortable and look into the camera and do your thing.
What now? We're going now?
Yes.
You're recording?
Yep, recording right now.
So I just look here and what do I do?
Just introduce yourself and then say something interesting about you.
Should I give my full name?
Sure. Go ahead.
Hi. My name is, Willet, Hargil, Folintus, Tarnin, Escavellius, Boleti, Goodvent, Pillter, Coburnikel, Eugene Robers. But, most folks just call me Tumbill. Was that good?
Sure, yeah. That's just great. Just go ahead now.
Now I say something interesting?
Yep. Yeah. Go ahead.
Well, what do people find interesting?
Just say anything at all. Just say anything. Anything.
Suppose I could talk about my job.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Well, I work for J.E.R.C, catching bad guys for money. Sometimes it's dangerous, and I'd like to meet someone who knows how to remove shrapnel and cauterize open wounds. And look, you know what? Can we start over? I want to do the introduction again.
Ah!
Now that I think about it, I don't think that fella liked me very much. Anyway, some of my friends even set me up on a blind date. This has been a lovely night. I really like you. But I gotta ask, what's with the mask?
I knew you'd get there eventually. I'm an infinitarian. Beneath my mask is a vision of all that is, was, or ever will be. An unending, unknowable horror. To gaze into it could destroy the minds of mortal men and bring existence as we know it to a standstill.
I'm sorry, I kinda zoned out there for a second and missed what you said. But if it's about your looks, don't you worry. I ain't no Mona Lisa either. Why don't you take that off? I promise I won't say a thing.
That is an extremely terrible idea.
Oh, come on, it can't be that bad. What is it, you got crooked teeth or something? I don't mind. Oh, but it's nerfing.
You really missed the whole unknowable horror thing, huh?
What's that now?
Wow. Never mind. Don't say I didn't warn you.
There, see? That's not so bad. Oh, God. Oh, God. was blind for 6 months after that. It seemed like every date I went on ended in total disaster. I had all but given up on ever finding love. But then I met Ruff. Well, met may not be the correct word here. Apprehended may be more accurate. You see, Rufelia Tarkotilona was a political assassin accused of blowing the others off a Movarian diplomat, and I had been assigned to bring her into the J.E.R.C to face the consequences of her actions. She was the toughest bounty criminal acquisition I had ever embarked upon. I discovered through my contact a pescatite named Gil that Rufelia was hiding out in the Vorberum cluster, in a dead system known only as Nurem 353. Now, Nurem 353 only has 3 planets in its orbit. Nurem A, a tiny little thing so close to its star that it's more or less a big hunk of charcoal. Nurem B, which is so cold you could use it as an ice cube in the galaxy's largest old-fashioned. And then, sitting right there in between the two, there's Hank. Hank is what's called a Goldilocks planet. It's located exactly in the right position in the star system to support carbon-based life and is a tropical paradise from pole to pole. No one's really sure who named Hank Hank or why, and it's been impossible to figure out exactly which species could have named it because Hank, in an unfathomable coincidence, is a name in the languages of every single known galactic race. Many have laid claim, but none have been able to prove ownership, and so Hank remains completely uninhabited, which made it the perfect place for a criminal on the lam to hide out. I mean, if you're gonna be hiding from the law, you might as well do it in a tropical utopia, am I right? Anyway, I made my way to Hank and scanned the planet from orbit. To my surprise, I picked up 3 distinct humanoid signatures. I'd have to track down each of them if I wanted to find my target. The first was a scientist who believed that Hank was actually a sentient creature, and that the cave he was camping in was actually one of its nostrils. Though judging by its location close to the southern pole and the smell, I would have assumed it was an entirely different orifice. The next guy turned out to be the award-winning actor, Vodabon Kessel-Forget. He was preparing for a role in which he'd be playing a scientist searching for a fabled sentient planet. I pointed him in the direction of Hank's anus and went on my way. Now, by the time I made it to Ruff's hideout in a cave set into the side of a verdant canyon, the area had already been heavily fortified. After a brief scan of the defenses, I identified 37 Splositech M67 turbo mines, 14 Murtatron 600 series laser snares, and 6 Annihilatrix Corp semi-sentient AI ultra-death autocannon turrets, which are illegal in 5 sectors. I don't even know where she got those. There was only one way in or out. She had thought of everything. But one thing she didn't count on was Willet Tumbill. Now, I'm not one to toot my own horn, but, well, let's just say I've won my fair share of trophies at the Intergalactic Criminal Acquisition Awards. First, I took out the mines, which was a simple matter of finding and luring some of the more trusting indigenous fauna into the minefield with the promise of delicious Zuffa beans on the other side. Needless to say, it was extremely messy, and if I'm being honest, not my proudest moment. Next came the snares. Now, laser snares can cut you into about 1,000 tiny meat cubes if you get caught, but they have one fatal flaw: soft cheese. You see, the snares only trigger when they detect something in their conical sensor zone, but for one reason or another, soft cheeses, like a fine brie or a camembert, don't register as anything at all. So I slathered myself up with a few pounds of gorgonzola and walked right through. The last hurdle That being the auto turrets was the trickiest yet. Now, it used to be with these fancy AI guns that you could shout out a paradox like, "This statement is false," and it would implode and that would be that. But improvements in the technology have made that method obsolete. However, due to an indiscreet coder's love of vintage Earth pop mega hits, the AI in each and every Annihilatrix Corp unit is cripplingly susceptible to earworms. So much so that the Hexagonians of Polygon 9 lost their entire royal family when the abstrati from the Mobium cluster blasted out a certain Rick Astley number and disabled all their defenses. Needless to say, I approached carefully and belted out at the top of my lungs, "What is love?" Waited for the inevitable and then strolled right past to the robotic sounds of 6 death machines singing Haddaway's 20th century classic. Having eliminated her defenses, I checked my weapons and moved forward into the cave system, hugging close to the beautifully striated rock walls. As I edged up to the entrance of the hollow in which my scanners told me she was hiding, I knew I had the advantage. "Miss Tarkotilona, I recommend you come out peacefully. I'd rather this not get ugly." I spoke with as much authority as I could muster.
"Eat Vosk shit!"
she replied, not entirely unexpected. "Well, that's not very nice," I muttered to myself, and then, "Alrighty, have it your way." And I swung into the room, placed her at the ready, and froze in place when I saw her. Long, flowing tendrils framing a soft blue face with 3 glowing violet eyes. I had never seen a more radiant vision in my life. At that moment, my heart stopped because she shot me. It only took a few seconds for my Corpo Corp internal auto defib unit to revive me, but in those few brief moments, as I lie on my back, looking up at the face of that extraterrestrial angel, as she spoke the words,
"Why are you covered in cheese?"
I knew in my heart of hearts I had found my soulmate. She was unsurprisingly caught off guard when I sprung forward and disarmed her, throwing her blaster across the room. But I could tell by the knife that was now stuck in my side that I had underestimated how quick she really was. I swept her legs out from under her and dove for my blaster, only to be pulled backwards in midair by the energy whip she had lassoed my feet with. She was a crafty one, but I'm no slouch either. I pulled the blade out of my gut and cut the wire, causing her to tumble backwards into the dirt. We both sat in the dust of the cave floor for a moment, looking back and forth between each other and our respective blasters. Then, in the same instant, we scrambled to our feet, dashed for our guns, grabbed them up, spun, and fired. After the bright light and resonating sound had dissipated, we saw that we had each shot the weapon cleanly out of each other's hand. A truly astounding feat. 1 in a billion. We both stared in shocked disbelief as the realization of what just happened washed over us. And then we laughed. I walked casually over to Rufelia and, smiling, extended a hand. She took it in hers and smiled back. She didn't see the taser in my other hand. She dropped like a sack of potatoes. I flew her back to the J.E.R.C to claim my acquisition commission. You know, business is business after all. But on the way, we sat and we talked, compared scars and kills, and laughed. Over the next 5 years, I would visit her in prison every weekend and tell her about my latest jobs. When she was released, I helped her get her license and a job with the J.E.R.C. Now, Rough and Tumble are the most feared CAS team in the galaxy. Together, we track the worst criminal elements across the cosmos. I suppose the moral of this story is never give up on finding love. It just might pop up in the most unexpected places. And also invest in a Corpo Corp internal auto defib unit. For real, it is a literal lifesaver.
Hey,